Welcome into a weekend edition of the Desmond Johnson Show here on Tobacco Road Sports Radio, tobaccoroadsportsradio.com. You can find us on WTOB 980 AM, 96.7 FM every Friday afternoon during your rush hour, trying to get home from work around 6 o'clock. And you can catch the best of the week on Saturdays on WWBG 1470 AM out in Greensboro and Guilford County. The guys from Winning the Division in the house with me as they are every Friday. Ben Troupe and Ryan Smith in the house. We're going to do some quick hits regarding football, college football, ACC in particular. We might have a potential mess on our hands, gentlemen, in terms of not getting a single ACC team into the 12 college football playoff field. We'll talk about that. They'll pick their favorite games coming up here in the NFL on Sunday. And then as we've been doing the past couple of weeks, I've been giving you sneak peeks of some of the stuff I do with Believe podcasts. We did a supersized edition this week with the Panthers being on a bye. Got a chance to chop it up with my good friend Chris Lee. He'll stop by for a little bit and talk to us a little bit about the Panthers and around the league as well. And we also have a little bit of a clip from Believe in Hills Hoops, which you can now rate and subscribe to with myself, PJ Harrison, former Carolina Hooper, and six-man of Carolina basketball, B-Dot. That comes on Wednesdays at 11 o'clock live on the Tobacco Road Sports Radio YouTube channel. We'll play a little excerpt from that as well before we get out here today. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll that intro. It's the Desmond Johnson Show.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
Yeah, welcome to the Carolinas. Everywhere you go, the sky is Carolina blue, the finest. Live action, feedback, the city need that. I've been #1, no cap. Here's the recap. Adrenaline is my addiction. I'm about to relapse. Step on the turf if you won't and get your weed wet. I'm going harder than a martyr on the starter end. It's the heart of man, that's a rap like a cardigan. I'm breaking records, it's 4th and inches. I count the seconds. The over-under's my roar of thunder, my secret weapon. Yeah, the game is to be told. I don't break, I break modes. Follow me on Tobacco Road.
Live with Desmond Johnson, son, the live is one. Represent NC to the fullest.
And welcome into a Desmond Johnson Show. Hope everybody's enjoyed their holidays. Desmond Johnson here in the house with Winning the Division podcast host Ben Troupe and Ryan Smith. You can find Winning the Division on the Keep Pounding Podcast Network. Rate and subscribe that as well on any major podcast platform. Their video episodes are available on Tobacco Road Sports Radio YouTube channel about midweek. Well, actually, lately about early week, Tuesdays or so. They usually get dropped on there. So definitely rate and subscribe. If you subscribe to the YouTube channel, it'll alert you when it's about to come on. And they go through the entire NFL every single week. I wanted to pick their brains a little bit about college football. As you guys know, Ryan Smith does some writing for Sports Counter Monthly for us as well in the ACC. And guys, we got a situation going on here in the ACC. The 12-team college football bracket, college football playoff bracket was announced earlier this week. And as it stands right now, the ACC does not have a representative in it. The problem here is the ACC's weird tie-breaking system where the Virginia Cavaliers, who finished 7-1 in ACC play, will go down to Charlotte, and they will take on a team that many think probably shouldn't be there, unranked Duke, who has lost 5 games, but they were 6-2 in conference play. And through the weird tiebreaker policy that they had in ACC with head-to-head and all this other stuff, it sent Duke instead of Miami, instead of SMU, instead of a couple others that were log jammed at 6-2 in the conference. The problem is if Duke wins as an unranked team, they may end up shutting the ACC out entirely. I did see on ESPN.com earlier today, Commissioner Jim Phillips is actually pushing for 2 teams in the ACC to eventually make the college football playoff. He's pushing for number 12, Miami, to get in, along with the winner of the league championship game. Thoughts on this, first of all, in terms of Virginia and Duke being the representatives in this college football conference championship game? Thoughts on this, and what I feel like Duke could actually win this game. Like Duke's not a bad team. They lost a lot of games in non-conference, but they've got a lot of talent, and Manny Diaz is a really good coach. Thoughts on the matchup for starters, Virginia and Duke? Are you worried about Virginia losing this and kind of messing it up for the ACC completely?
I will say this. I will say this. If Manny Diaz is the reason why the ACC does not get a team in, this is the same Manny Diaz that couldn't win the ACC at Miami. He goes over to Duke and he plays well. He understands conference play. It is going to be weird, but I think it has more to do than this year. This goes way back to when Clemson was Clemson. When they had Deshaun Watson, when they had Trevor Lawrence, they kept saying they don't play anybody. That's why they're going undefeated. They were saying that way back then. And the ACC, I will keep saying this. There is one team in the ACC that I think has to be good that just isn't good. It's not Miami. It's not Notre Dame. It's North Carolina. When North Carolina football is good, it will elevate the whole conference. I don't think Miami can do that. And Notre Dame, they're contractually obligated to be in the ACC, but it's just for football, they got their regular season.
Yeah,
I just think
they're really not an ACC team. Yeah,
and so for me, it's going to be wild. Yeah, but it's going to be wild for so many reasons. But how in the world 75 gets you in? And we're looking at the record, not what they did in conference. So I get it, but Manny Diaz he's already been on. He's going on. Hey man, to come on over here. I mean, he's been going on a bunch of other shows talking about he don't understand. Now he loves being in the game, but if Duke wins the ACC in football, 75. If Duke is winning the ACC, it ain't basketball. It ain't good for the conference. It's never going to be good for the conference. And you can respect what Duke is, but if they do win and you put teams in that didn't make the championship game, I think Notre Dame got a better shot to get in than Miami for this reason. Notre Dame has brand equity. They're a huge brand in college football. Now, if Notre Dame gets let out, I think they should be very, very nervous because they used to be able to have these type of seasons and still get in when it was 4 teams. Now it's 12. Desmond, I'm going to be watching, man, but the ACC has put themselves in a predicament because of what they didn't do with a team like Duke 75. The perception of it is going to keep people, because most people don't watch these games. I know the College Football Playoff Committee, they don't. So perception is what wins when you talk about nationally, because 12 teams, you definitely still going to get it wrong. But ACC not getting in, and you talk about maybe a G5 team getting in and an ACC champ, I think that's going to be crazy. I'm going to have to see it to believe it.
So, and I'm glad you mentioned Miami and Notre Dame, because that's the other conversation that's kind of dominating this college football playoff field right now as I bring it over to Ryan. Miami and Notre Dame played each other week 1 of the season. Miami won 27-24. If you look at their resume side by side, Notre Dame has the 42nd hardest strength of schedule. Miami had 44th. The Hurricanes had more wins against top 40 teams. They had 5 wins against top 40 teams. The Irish only had 2. They had a better record against AP ranked team at the time of the matchup. Miami was 4-0 in those games. Notre Dame was 2-2. But again, like you mentioned, it feels like, Ryan, there's this kind of eye test going on when it shouldn't be at this point at 12 teams. It should be the 12 best teams get in. But I'm noticing this thing happening again with Alabama, which drives me nuts, where people are basically saying, oh, Alabama can still lose that game against Georgia in the SEC championship game, and they're still going to get in. Whereas they're not saying that about Virginia, who's basically been the best team in the ACC pretty much most of the season. If they lose, they're not saying the same thing, even though Virginia's ranked number 12 right now in the AP poll. And that's what's causing this thing to happen with the ACC. Do you think it's a certain amount of bias that's going on here in terms of the way they look at SEC teams and the way they do the ACC? Because, again, another example, Ole Miss, with Lane Kiffin leaving and not being able to coach that team, they didn't drop at all in their thing. Whereas a couple years ago, the ACC got affected by Jordan Travis getting injured at the end of the season, and they left Florida State out entirely because of one player. Ole Miss didn't get affected by their coach and leader not being there, but Florida State didn't even get a chance to play because of Jordan Travis not being there. Thoughts on it still feels like there's bias going on towards the SEC and the Big Ten when it comes to these slots.
Absolutely. The SEC slogan, been played in the SEC, it just means more. That's what the slogan is in the SEC. I definitely think there's a bias. It's not, they're not trying to hide it either. I think Notre Dame should be very nervous. If Miami and Notre Dame played tomorrow, I think I'd take Notre Dame, even though Miami won the first matchup. But Notre Dame should be very nervous. Their brand name could only take them so far, according to this committee anyway. But like you said, Desmond, the Alabama brand name is different from the Notre Dame brand name for whatever reason, because they're in the SEC. Because the ACC is associated with Notre Dame is associated with the ACC, that kind of almost weighs them down. You also mentioned Ole Miss. I disagree a little bit on that one, only because Jordan Travis was the quarterback of Florida State. Lane Kiffin was the coach. Two totally different things. The coach, yes, he called the plays, but their whole team that is on the field and executing said plays are still there. Florida State lost their quarterback and they weren't the same without their quarterback. Everybody knew that. So I
They
think
did
there's
lose the next game, that bowl game. Yeah, I think it was the.
Yeah.
Can't remember who was they played.
It was
They played Georgia.
It was like
It
62
was
to 3 or something.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was bad.
And you know the thing that I always keep thinking about when it comes to the ACC and football, Ben was saying that North Carolina needs to be the one to kind of take the charge and be like that flagpole team that's like good or whatnot. They've never really been good in football. I think they've only had they've only won like one conference championship or two or something like that, like in their history. The team that actually needs to be good is Florida State. Like what has happened with Florida State the past 2 years is mind-boggling to me. And the original blueprint of the ACC, when they ate up the Big East, the old Big East, they brought in Florida State, Miami, but coming off of national championships. Like Miami was coming off of that gargantuan all-star 2001, 2002 Miami squads.
Don't remind me. I had to play against. I had to play against 2000. I skipped 2001, 2002, and 2003. We didn't play them in 2001, but yeah, we went. Obviously, we went 0-3 against those guys. But there's the thing about it is that is crazy though that you say that about Florida State. Since Florida State has won the ACC, since they've won 8 games. No, they've won 7.
Yeah,
they won 5 this year, and they won 2. I don't understand what's going on with this. Is the same Florida State that finished in the top 5 like 15 years in a row under Bobby Bowden, and I don't know. I don't know what the ACC. No one knows what the SEC's blueprint is out front. Hey man, we're gonna push these brands in a way that people are gonna get sick of, but they gonna respect them. And they had Nick Saban, who did what he did. But the ACC, they don't have an alpha man. They don't have an alpha at the top. They don't have Ohio State that can make the whole conference good. Miami is good, but they're not great.
Right.
One thing they say about it,
they've
never won ACC.
Yeah.
As great as Miami was, as dominant as they were in the Big East. They've been in the ACC since 2005. They've never won. Do you know how hard that is to even believe? Wait a minute. You come out to 30 for 30 Miami? Yes.
Yeah.
They have never. So
2 documentaries.
That's what's hurting Miami. What's hurting Miami is they're going to say, well, get in to do what? Like, okay, we put y'all to do what? Because y'all have never been to Charlotte outside to visit or go to ACC media days.
That was the dream, was Florida State, Miami, and the ACC championship in Charlotte pretty much every year, and it's never happened. They've never met in the ACC championship, not once. Now North Carolina, we'll see what happens now that Belichick's got his recruiting class in, like you mentioned in the press conference the other day, that this will be his first class where it's actually them coming in. They are fairly highly ranked, but Bill Belichick's 74, so I don't really know how long that's going to, honestly, like last out there, or whatever this is going to last out there. But just to talk about Duke being in the ACC championship game in football is mind-boggling to me too, because again, they might blow this whole thing up. It might be one of the best seasons in Duke history, winning the ACC championship, but they probably won't go to the playoff because of it, because there'll be another conference champion that's ranked higher than them, because they're not even ranked right now. So even if they beat 12th ranked Virginia and get ranked, I don't know if they'll leapfrog over the lowest ranked conference champion, which right now would probably be James Madison. James Madison, I think, is 25th.
Yeah,
in the AP poll right now. So, and they're
Tulane
in
and Texas playing the American. That might be that's the other one.
Yeah, and that's going on.
It might be Tulane might get that.
Tulane. That's North Texas and Tulane are playing in the American title game this weekend too. So that winner, both of them are ranked, North Texas and Tulane. So whoever wins that game,
North Texas again. Would they put North Texas in? Is the question.
I mean, they have to. I think it's supposed to be. What is it? The top 5 or 4?
And their quarterback of North Texas is legit good. He is
Eric Morris is about to go to Oklahoma State once North Texas season's done. He's about to go to the Big 12, and that quarterback might be going with him at North Texas. That quarterback is very good.
So we'll see what happens with that. So it's an interesting weekend in college football's conference championship weekend. So we'll see what happens there. I want to get over to the NFL before I let these guys go. I didn't realize. I mean, because Carolina's on a bye this week, so I don't have any Panther football this Sunday. And of course, Carolina did their A-Day, B-Day, which team's going to show up type deal on Sunday. I had a feeling they would play well against the Rams for no other reason other than the fact that they typically will play well this season when they play bad the week before, and no matter who it is. And that's what happened against the Rams. They were just on it like the whole day. So I'm kind of glad they're not playing this week, because they would probably lose. So I'm ready for them to take a break, having his late season bye, which I thought was weird when I first looked at it in the preseason.
They need it, Desmond.
Yeah, I'm so thankful they got it so late because they can get some people back. I want you guys to look at the schedule for this week because there's some bangers on here this week, some really good ones with playoff implications. What's a game you're looking at in the NFL for this Sunday that you're really looking forward to? Ryan, let's start off with you.
Well, tonight's game is very good. Cowboys-Lions. There's recording it on Thursday. I think Thursday Night Football. But Texans-Chiefs is the one I'm looking at, Sunday Night Football, because that's almost an elimination game.
Yeah.
Almost. Texans, I think, still have a chance to win their division, even if they do lose to the Chiefs. But for the Chiefs, this is an elimination game. This is put up or shut up. Put your chips in the middle of the table, if you will. I personally think the Chiefs have to win out at this point to make the playoffs. So I'm looking at Texans-Chiefs on Sunday Night Football as my one of my few games of the week.
What about you, Ben? What's the game are you looking at?
I mean, I'm looking at two, but I'm looking at Green Bay. I'm looking at Green Bay and Chicago, but I'm looking at Indy and Jacksonville. Indy and Jacksonville have gotten really, 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 really exciting really, really quickly. When you look at what Indy isn't doing, has Indy played their best football behind them already? Jacksonville is still finding a way to win. I think that's going to be a very intriguing game. And I know Smitty just picked Houston. Houston is surging. CJ Stroud is back.
Mm-hmm.
Indy isn't playing as well because team has found a way to neutralize Jonathan. You know what I'm saying? Jonathan.
He has slowed down in the rushing game.
And I think for the Jacksonville team, Liam Cohen is doing an incredible job in Jacksonville for year one. Liam Cohen is doing what Ben Johnson is doing in Chicago. It's just, I think people have seen so much of Trevor Lawrence, they expect him to go back to what he was. But I'm looking at Indy and Jacksonville, and I think whichever the winner is of that game, but still, they primed to continue to be in first place. But Houston is surging, man. They coming, and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. might be the best duo of pass rushers in the league. So but I do like Kansas City and Houston as well. But give me Green Bay, versus the Bears, and obviously give me Indy versus Jacksonville.
So that Indy Jacksonville game is at 1:00 on CBS. Both teams are 8-4 on top of the AFC South. Chicago at Green Bay is 4:25 on Fox. That's Chicago right now, I believe, is the 1 seed in the NFC. Like, who would have thought that the Chicago Bears, after the season they had last year, and Caleb Williams was looking completely lost, would be in first place in the NFC week 14 of the 2025 season. So it's just wild. I'm looking at two games. One, just because of how it affects me and my emotions, and the other one because it's just intriguing. New Orleans at Tampa Bay, 1:00 on CBS. I have to root for the Saints because I need Tampa to lose. so I'm in a weird spot where I have to root for a team that I utterly hate to beat a team I also utterly hate. So my team can advance on a bye week where they're not playing at all. So I need whatever Saints. I think the Saints have only won like 2 games this year. I need like the good Saints to show up against Tampa because Tampa's been kind of sinking ship the past couple of weeks, which has allowed Carolina to catch up to them. And honestly, if Carolina hadn't dropped the game they played against the Saints a couple of weeks ago, Carolina would be in sole possession of first place right now. But Carolina's had a couple of games like that where they probably should have won the game. They didn't win the game. The Saints was one of them. Honestly, the Jacksonville game week 1, you could probably throw that in there too, that they probably should have won that game. And I look at the losses that Carolina's had. They lost to Jacksonville, who's leading their division. They lost to the Patriots, who might be one of the best teams in the AFC. They lost to the Bills, who probably are the best team in the AFC. And then they lost to the Saints and the Falcons. So it's like, you kind of
the Cardinals week 2.
Cardinals week 2. Yeah, they lost the Cardinals.
The onside kick 50 yards away from winning the game, and
that should have been a game we won too. So I see a lot of games they should have won. So that Saints Bucks game, I'll be paying attention to the score while it's on. But the game I'll probably have it on that'll probably be playing here at 1:00 on Sunday is Pittsburgh at Baltimore. And this is one where you've got 2 of the longest tenured coaches in the NFL. Where at the end of the season, one of them might not be coaching this team, which is wild. John Harbaugh in Baltimore and Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. The rumblings have gotten very loud amongst the Pittsburgh fans and now the national media about Mike Tomlin and Pittsburgh maybe parting ways at the end of this season. Mike Tomlin's still yet to coach a team under 500 in Pittsburgh over, he's been there like 15 years. I think he got there in 2007. So he's been there 15 plus years. John Harbaugh has been there about the same amount of time in Baltimore. And, you know, Pittsburgh, Baltimore is always one of those knock the paint off your helmet type games anyway, just because of the two teams that are playing. Lamar Jackson's been a little banged up all year. Baltimore's defense is still trash, but they've pulled some stuff together to get into the thick of things in the AFC North division race. So whoever wins that game can kind of take a front row seat towards maybe sneaking into the playoffs as the division winner in the AFC North, where at the beginning of the year, we all thought the AFC North was going to be the toughest division in football, and it's not. So a lot of interesting storylines going on over there regarding those two teams. I will say this. If Pittsburgh, and we'll end it right here, if Pittsburgh and Mike Tomlin decide to part ways, because I have a team in my head, what would be the best landing spot for Mike Tomlin? I got one.
Oh my goodness, the best landing spot for Mike Tomlin?
Yeah, like if he doesn't take a year off for TV or anything like that, like because he's going to get calls. He's going to get calls in the parking lot as soon as he gets
your Giants.
That's where I'm going. Yep.
The best landing spot for him, and this is just my bias, the best landing spot for him will be the Titans. Because the reason why it's going to be able to pick. I'm looking at the division that he can come in right now. The AFC South is not the NFC East. You got to deal with Dallas, and you got to deal with Dallas. When you talk about the AFC South and the guy in camp, two guys in the same draft, Jackson Dart, Cam Ward. I just think the AFC South is just different. You look at what DeMeco Ryans is doing in year 3, and they're surging right now. Mike Tomlin has been with the Pittsburgh Steelers for 19 years. 19 years as the head coach in the NFL. That don't even happen anymore. So
they're not going to fire him. Like
they won't.
They fire him. It'll be one of those like we had a mutual agreement to separate, part ways type deal. But
I guarantee you though, if they do part ways, though, Smitty and Desmond, he's gonna help them pick the next guy. All right, if I'm not gonna be here, let me give some suggestions. Because Tony Dungy is the reason why he's in Pittsburgh when he was a defensive coordinator out there with Minnesota. So it's gonna be different watching them not be there, just like it's different watching Ben Roethlisberger not be quarterback. It's gonna be wild.
He's not there, we don't know for sure. We're just speculating he won't be there, but we did this last year too. So I mean, with Tomlin, the Steelers have had 3 head coaches since 1969.
Yeah,
like no other team can even remotely say anything close to something like that. But sometimes the message, I guess, gets lost when you've been hearing it so many times over and over again in the same tone from the same person. Look at Andy Reid and Philly. You know, the same thing happened with him, and they kind of mutually parted ways. He finds Kansas City, and the rest is history. I think, like Ryan was saying, the Giants. I like if he could slide right to the Giants, and they've got things that he can work with immediately. They probably got the most talent on their defensive line, 1 through 4, as any other team in the league. He's got an elite wide receiver. Malik Neighbors will be back next year. He's got a quarterback in place in Jackson Dart. Cam Scatterbo will be back next year at running back. So you got that. You got offensive line. You got picks. You got some money to play with. That's one too. But I didn't think about the Titans, to Ben's point, because the Titans actually have draft picks. They have Cam Ward, a number 1 overall pick at quarterback. And they've got money. They got salary cap space. So you can kind of flip it around.
And it's just a rumor. I don't know if A.J. Brown is going to be a Philadelphia Eagle in 2026. If you don't think that Mike Tomlin could get him to come over, I'm just a rumor, people. I'm just telling y'all. A.J. Brown with Malik Neighbors.
I can see that.
I got two quick things before we go. Number 1, Indy Jacksonville. We were talking about that game earlier. And I'll circle back around to the AFC North. Indy Jacksonville, Ben. Indy has not won in Jacksonville since 2014. As an NFL player, how hard is that to do? They haven't won that in 11 years in that location. That's ridiculous.
And the reason why that hasn't happened is because listen, they've been doing the Andrew Luck quarterback carousel. When you don't got a quarterback, that happens. And the thing is, they've had more quarterbacks over age 35 since then. I mean, look at it. I mean, Matt Ryan, Phillip Rivers, and the list goes on and on. But that streak can continue. If that running game don't get going, they can find a way to neutralize Daniel Jones, who I think he gonna be the walking wounded, going into Jacksonville.
And there's Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
And then to circle back on your Mike Tomlin thing, I'll take it one step further. I think there's a scenario in which not just Mike Tomlin moves on. To close that loop for you, Harbaugh, Zach Taylor, and Kevin Stefanski, all the teams in that division might have new head coaches next year. I mean, think about it. Yeah. You think about it, right? Every scenario. Kevin Stefanski's a great coach. It's just hard to win in Cleveland.
No, he's not. No. See, and that's the thing, right? Everybody, what makes Kevin Stefanski a great coach?
That's my question.
Because Baker Mayfield that took him to the playoffs, he's the one that got rid of him next year. That was Stefanski.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just asking, it may be greatness as quick.
That was my question too. I don't know. And then the Zach
John
Taylor
Harbaugh's
question.
been in Baltimore as long as Tomlin's been in Pittsburgh, and then Zach Taylor. At some point, we can't blame Joe Burrow for getting injured. Zach Taylor's got to get them over to the top at some point.
Well, Zach Taylor's kind of living off that Super Bowl appearance from what?
Yes.
4 years ago? Like 4 years ago, the Super Bowl? Like he's been kind of Joe Burrow too, to be honest. So they've both been kind of living off the fact they got past the Chiefs and got to the Super Bowl that 1 year, but then they've never put together ever since. And now they've started giving out money to offensive players, so that's gonna be even harder to kind of build the thing they need, which was defense in the first place. So you got all that going on. But yeah, there's some really good games going on this weekend. So Panther fans that normally watch my show, if you're trying to figure out what to do because the Panthers aren't going to be playing at 1 o'clock, there's a number of good ones. I spoke of it. Cincinnati at Buffalo. That's Joe Burrow versus Josh Allen, 1 o'clock on Fox. The Bengals are still technically in it. They've got 8 losses, but they still are. They're only 2 games out of first in the NFC North. So there are 4 games to play, 5 games to play for them. So that's there. Other than that, I mentioned New Orleans, Tampa, Indy, Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, Baltimore.
Philly Chargers
the Chargers and the Cardinals at 4:25. Then you got Houston and Kansas City on Peacock and NBC to cap out that on Sunday. We got to get out of here, but before we do, just a reminder to everyone coming up here in just a bit. Some sneak peeks. Believe in Carolina Panthers, and Believe in Hills Hoops are 2 shows I host for Believe Podcast Network. Believe in Panthers, I do with Panthers all-time leading rusher Jonathan Stewart. We're usually on about twice a week. We do a post-game live reaction show on Sunday, but we won't have one this week because there is no game. And then we do a midweek recap and we preview the upcoming game. This week we did a little something special. We had Jim Zoki and Chris Lee from Panthers Playbook and WRL, Jim Zoki from the Panthers Radio Network. We had them on. I'm going to throw some clips in there from there so you can hear some of that, and I'll give you information to go find the full episode. And then Believe in Hills Hoops. After the Hills' big win on the road against Kentucky on Monday, myself, PJ Harrison, and B-Dot chopped that up. We look ahead to Georgetown this Sunday and just some of the things we saw, including the emergence of freshman point guard Derek Dixon. Both of those full episodes are out right now. You can see them on Tobacco Road's YouTube channel, or you can listen to them on Believe's Podcast Network. But we'll be back with some snippets of that in just a bit. You are listening to the